Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Tailgate podcast. I am your host and the voice of the Tailgate, Michael Quattramani. And with me today, the man, the myth, the legend. We've got Chase from the Fantasy Outlaws. Welcome, Chase. How you doing
What's up,
today?
guys? I'm great. How are you, Mike?
I
It's
am
good to be here,
fantastic.
man.
Oh yeah, this is gonna be
I've
awesome.
been waiting.
Yeah, gonna be pumping out these special guest episodes. This is definitely a long-awaited episode. This is gonna be fun.
I'm here. All
Yeah,
right.
he is here. He's making an appearance. It's gonna be a ton of fun. So, like always, just gonna update you on what the outline is gonna be for the day. First off, we're gonna start off with our biggest surprise of the season. So, just some guys that come into the season, their expectations were not as high as they have produced. So, whether it's a player or a team, we're gonna do that. Then we've got in or out. I've done that on my other podcast, the 4-1. If you guys have followed me on that, basically, I'm gonna name 4 teams. We're gonna see if they're in the playoffs
Yeah.
or out of the playoffs. Just opinion based. And
Easy.
then we got fantasy football. Fantasy outlaws. You gotta get fantasy in some
A
sort of
little
way.
bit.
A lot of you guys
Right.
have your semis up right now, or your second week of your quarters, whatever it is. Championship, making that run. So we got 2 start 'em, 2 sit 'em to help you out, and then we're gonna finish off the day with overrated and underrated because Chase knows just as well as I do on TikTok. There's a lot of talk about people being overrated, teams being overrated, underrated. It's a buzzword that's going
It's
around right now. So
it
I'm gonna
is.
get into it, and we're just gonna hop right in. So Chase, give me your surprise of the season.
Well, it seems like an obvious choice is James Robinson, right?
Mm-hmm.
You gotta go there. I mean,
Yeah.
like that's the A1. But if you want like a less boring answer, I'd probably go Mike Davis. Like every week, he's been a helpful commodity, and I don't think like anyone expected that. But I think
Yeah.
both of those were very surprising.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of injury pickups. Like when a player goes down and you just pick them up and they put up like a ton of
Mhm.
points. Like those are so great. So obviously, Mike Davis has really been awesome. There was like a month or so where he put up 4 straight weeks of 8 points, which was kind of weird. But besides that, he's
Yeah,
been awesome. He's been a really great
solid.
fantasy weapon. Obviously, I would say he's a high end RB too. I mean, he's a really good running back in the NFL. And I think it
I
just
like
proves
those
like
too.
the point of running backs are a dime a dozen. Like you can find good running backs pretty much anywhere. And I think that just goes to your point about James Robinson. I mean, obviously nobody saw that coming, but guys
No.
like him and Philip Lindsay, these undrafted rookies, just come in and just perform well. Because I feel like if you have, any somewhat of a successful offense, you're gonna be able to perform well. Obviously, James Robinson
Yeah.
in Jacksonville's offense, not that
Right.
great, but he plays well.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I picked up Ozigbo and Raquel Armstead at the beginning of the year, so I missed out on the real one.
Yeah, you picked
So
up the 2 guys that really didn't matter at all.
yeah, bad luck sometimes factors
Yeah, it
into it.
really
And
is.
and not every time you get one of those injury pickups, they're gonna like pan out.
Mhm.
Like Gio has been rough recently, but he
Mhm.
had his
Yeah,
good weeks. And then like Duke, Duke hasn't been doing it.
I
So
know.
those are some good gems. Good to see.
Yeah, and honestly, my favorite injury pickup this year has been Jamal Williams. When Aaron Jones, I think it was a 2 or 3 week, it wasn't long, but when he was out for
Mhm.
two, I think it was 2 weeks, Jamal Williams came in and put up, I think it was 18 and 22. I mean, he was
Yeah.
awesome. He's such a good fill in for me. I actually, I didn't have Joe Mixon, but the guy who had Joe Mixon didn't pick up Gio Bernard. So I had my top two. I had Miles Sanders and Aaron Jones both out in one of my leagues. I picked up Gio Bernard and Jamal Williams, and they combined for
Yeah.
20 points one week. And I was like, let's
Yeah.
go. I felt
That'll do
awesome.
it. It's all about smart fantasy. Playing when you can.
Exactly. It's not about having the
Yeah.
sucks. It's about playing the matchups and just, playing the hot hand. That's all. It's
The,
what it's all about.
the draft factors into championships about like 5%, I would say.
That's a hot take. That is a very hot take.
I move a lot,
Yeah,
It's
me
it's
too.
all about moving and grooving. I don't think I have a single player left on my team that I drafted.
Yeah, me too. I don't have one guy.
No.
That one guy.
Yeah.
So we actually, I saw this funny thing. Our league has done 18 trades from week one or from even before week one. From before week one to now, the league entirety has done 18 trades. I've been involved in 15 of the 18 trades.
Dang, yeah.
I just love trading. It's so
Me
much
too.
fun. It just makes the league more fun. And obviously, like some of them backfire. I traded away Derrick Henry for Julio Jones, and then ended up trading Julio Jones back to the other guy.
Yeah.
Because
Try Kenyon Drake. buddy. Okay.
Yeah, you got me on that
Yeah,
one.
that's where the slander started. Okay.
Exactly. Fantasy Outlaws is the CEO of the Kenyon Drake slander, and that's a
I
fact.
don't want that title anymore. He's doing good.
Yeah, dude. But you know what? For fantasy football, there's been a lot of slander with him. But in the actual NFL, he's not that bad of a running back. He's really not. And
No.
you're a Cardinals fan, you know better than anybody.
Yeah.
He's a good
No, he's
running
been
back.
performing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's as the person who like I don't know made a lot of those, I feel almost regretful. I was too mean at some point. You know.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like people coming into the season wanted Kenyon Drake, who had never been a consistent RB1. They wanted him to be an RB1. And I just don't
Right.
get it. Like he was my number one, like, I'm not drafting this guy. Like, I just don't understand why you'd think this guy would be an RB1, even though he's never shown any consistency in his entire career, even dating back to when he was in Miami. It just didn't make much sense to me. So this Kenyon Drake being like a middle of the pack RB2 is just fitting of how he's been in his entire career.
Can I explain my thoughts of why? Because people say that a lot, and it's like, oh, yeah, I never saw it coming. But it was like in Cliff's offense, he started clicking, and I was like, well, maybe that'll continue and even get better as he goes. But it didn't work out at first. It's starting to like happen again, but maybe he's just a late season guy.
Yeah, kind of like a Derrick Henry almost. I mean, obviously Henry is good throughout the season, but he just flips that switch when he comes into, December. It's crazy. But my my surprise of the season, it's got to be the Miami Dolphins. I mean, this team, people were literally debating this team last year if this was the worst NFL team of all time. Like, that was a legitimate thing. Like, when they were 0-8, people were, like, comparing them to, like, the 1985, I think it was the Browns or some team that was awful. Like, people legitimately thought this was the worst team ever.
Yeah.
And then a year later, I mean, not even really, a year later, they're now competing for a playoff spot and potentially going to make a run in the playoffs. I mean, turnaround that Brian Flores has done in the matter of one offseason. They signed a lot of ex-Patriots like Landon Roberts, Kyle Van Noy. Like you said, or no, Van Noy's in Detroit, isn't he? No, Van Noy's in Miami, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure Van Noy. I'm going to look it up. I'm pretty sure Van Noy.
Yeah, I feel like.
Yeah, hold on. I'm sorry. I never do this. But I have to.
No, that's a good one. I was
wondering. He's in Miami.
Too.
He's in Miami. I knew it.
Okay, yeah.
But you saw ex-Patriots like that. You obviously Xavier Howard has been fantastic this entire season.
Yeah.
Mike Gaskin, Mike Gesicki, obviously Tua, like all these guys.
Salvon Ahmed, Fitzmagic.
Exactly. Like all these guys just performed well under a good coach. I think Brian Flores deserves Coach of the Year. I know there's a lot of talk about, potentially giving it to Mike Tomlin and guys like that, but I don't know. Like, obviously the Steelers are 11-2, and we'll get into that later.
It'd be tough to not give it to Tomlin, right? But I see where you're coming from. That was the most impressive turnaround for sure.
It was unreal. So they're my biggest surprise of the season. People always debate, are the Patriots going to retain the AFC East or are the Bills going to take it over? No, and obviously the Bills are going to, but nobody gave the Dolphins any credit, even though down the stretch, the Dolphins were really threatening that AFC East title to the Bills, obviously. Yeah. So, look, the Dolphins are definitely my surprise of the year.
That's a good pick. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
I guess I was thinking more player sets.
Yeah.
Oh, the Rams would have been a good one, too.
Everybody was writing off the Rams in the offseason. Everybody's like, you know what? They're going to be even worse than they were last year. And I'm like,
worse than the NFC West.
Yeah, exactly. Like I never said I called it. No, I didn't. I didn't really have an actual take about it. But they obviously overperformed. They look like, I wouldn't say they're a Super Bowl contender personally. You can make an argument for it, but I think that they're a very.
I think they certainly are.
Yeah.
McVay runs that offense so unpredictably. It's so hard to coach against.
It's
crazy just watching it.
Formations. It's really cool to watch. Like as a Patriot.
Also. Yeah, it's cool, but it's also tough for fantasy sometimes, knowing who to play.
Yeah, honestly. I mean, that running back situation's an anomaly. I mean, right now it looks like Cam Akers is finally breaking through as the running back, but then again, we don't know. Like, it's McVay's off.
Henderson will get 30 next week.
Exactly, 100%. But if you've got nothing else to add, I want to move on to in or out.
Yeah.
Sound good? All right. So again, in or out, I'm going to give you a team, and you're just going to say whether they are in the playoffs or out of the playoffs. I'm going to give the remaining schedule too. So first up, a team that's swirling around in the news, we've got the Baltimore Ravens. So their
Okay.
upcoming schedule for the rest of the year is going to be the Jaguars, the Giants, and the Bengals. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking in.
Thinking in?
Yeah, I'm thinking in. What's the next? What are you thinking?
I think, yeah. I mean, they're going to beat the Jags. They're going to beat the Bengals. The Giants won't be an easy game,
No.
but I feel like Daniel Jones is he's going to crap himself. So, yeah, I think I'll definitely take the Ravens to sweep for the rest of
Yeah.
the year. And I think they're in a situation right now where if they win out, they're in. So,
Right.
yeah, I think the Ravens will definitely sneak in.
And even if they get 10 wins, they should be in, right? I mean,
Yeah, I think that's the magic number. Is like any team that hits 10 wins is probably going to make it. But then again, I mean, the
the
AFC is
Cardinals
loaded.
back in the day.
Yeah,
Remember that one? I
Yep.
remember that year.
Yeah,
10
I
and
remember the
6.
year where Brady went down in 08. Patriots went 11-5 and missed the playoffs, which I thought was
Yeah,
unreal.
it's insane how rough that is. That's why I think hot take alert. We should get rid of divisions in football. I don't like it.
I think we should have divisions, but I don't think the divisions should dictate the playoffs.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Like last year, I remember Seattle was, or no, the year before, the Chargers were 12-4. They were awesome, undefeated on the road. They were a wild card team and faced the playoffs off of the bye because the Chiefs were 13-3. Like that doesn't make much sense to me. They were probably the second or third best team in the AFC, yet they were a wild card team. That just doesn't make much sense to me. They were like the 5 or 6 seed. I think they were the 5 seed. So that I just don't get that. In a team like the Giants, who's 5, or the Washington football team who's 6-7, they're gonna make the playoffs.
Right. Yeah.
That. I don't know.
Them are the Giants, right? Depends on how it goes.
Exactly. I mean, look, they were 9-7 and then won the Super Bowl, so it's weird, but whatever.
Yeah, I guess.
Fine. But next up, we talked about them earlier. We got the Miami Dolphins. So right now, I'm pretty sure they're 6th in the AFC right now. Their remaining schedule, it's a little tough. It's not easy. They got the New England Patriots this week, not the Oakland Raiders, the LA Raiders next week, and then the Bills in week 17. That's a tough schedule. What are you thinking?
Well, you figure if the Ravens are in, like I said earlier, that would mean Dolphins are out.
Yeah.
So I'm going with out, even though I do think they're very good.
Yeah, I don't know. I could definitely see the Raiders not making it. I could definitely see. The Colts and the Browns will definitely be in. So I mean, yeah, I guess if that's the case, then I guess the Dolphins are just gonna have to be out, which sucks because I would have loved to seen Tua in the playoffs. I thought that would have been so much fun to watch. And look, obviously anything can happen, but I just want to spot check it real quick. Yeah, Dolphins are 7 seed right now.
Yeah,
and I'm pretty sure. Yeah, so it's gonna come down to the Dolphins or Ravens. They're both 8-5. Really, whatever team wins out is gonna end up being the team that makes it. I mean, Dolphins. That's a tough thing to do. Is beat the Patriots, Raiders, and Bills. Obviously, the Raiders are just shooting themselves in the foot, but I think they're a good football team. Bills obviously just beat the Steelers. They're a tough team. And the Patriots always have the Miami's number, so that's gonna be tough. But yeah, I think I'm on board with you. I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, based on just schedule alone, got to go Ravens there.
Yeah, I think so too, and it's tough to say because I'm not a Ravens fan at all.
Yeah, I would rather the Dolphins too.
Yeah. All right, I got the 2 NFC teams now. First up, we got the Minnesota Vikings, a team that started out. Wow. Because that was a quick answer.
Yeah. Well, because that,
Yep.
Weighing it. Yep. Next question. I would say.
Next question. Arizona Cardinals in or out? In. Give me your reasoning.
I like that. I think once that offense starts clicking, they're a force to be reckoned with. And if can you tell me the rest of the schedule for the rest of the season? I should know.
Cardinals rest of schedule. It's not easy. I know. The Eagles who just upset the Saints with Jalen Hurts.
Dub.
49ers with Jimmy Garoppolo and possibly George Kittle.
Hospital squad. Dub.
And then the Rams. That's not an easy schedule.
No, it is not. It is not.
That is tough. But here's the thing. The Minnesota schedule is not easy either. You got the Bears this week. Say what you want about the Bears. The Saints the week after, and then the Lions in week 17. So
But if I have to pick one, I'm picking the Cardinals there.
Exactly. I mean, how could you not? You're a fan of them. You have to.
Yeah. I would. It would be blasphemous to do otherwise. But I genuinely think they're the better team too. So
I don't know. I don't
it's
know.
okay. If that defense starts clicking like it did, then I'm liking our odds. I
Yeah.
think if everything just starts working, then we're contenders. If everything goes right.
Think about the New England Patriots.
Well, we're not under 500.
Wow. Okay.
I don't know. Maybe you can or maybe you can't.
All right, you watch. I have two blazing hot takes. My two hot takes that everybody who follows me on TikTok knows, or Instagram, or anybody. If you're watching right now, go follow Fantasy Outlaws. He posts fantastic content. That's some great stuff. Obviously, all of his stuff's gonna be plugged down below. He's gonna have a bunch of shoutouts and all that good stuff. But like, everybody knows I have two hot takes. One, the Bucks are winning the Super Bowl. That's my number one hot take. That'll happen. I can't promise it. I'm not. If I were a betting man, I'd say the Chiefs. But I gotta be fun.
Yeah, right. That's a fun answer.
Exactly. The New England Patriots are going to make the AFC Championship next year.
Who's going to be running the squad? Who's going to get a quarterback?
The NFL is a bidding war. Okay, whichever NFL team is going to be able to ship out the most money, the players are going to want to go there. New England has the fifth most amount of money coming into the offseason. They're going to sign guys like Allen Robinson, Chris Godwin, guys like that. Bring in a Matt Stafford. I personally think that if Matt Stafford has a good defense and a good offensive line, he can win a Super Bowl. And a good coach, he can win a Super Bowl. I'm a firm believer in that.
I'd love to see him win a Super Bowl. Not on the Patriots, though. Anywhere but there. Or the Steelers,
Yeah, I hate the Steelers. But
or the Niners. I got those three.
Those three, that can't happen to.
Yeah.
Dude. I really do. If they got a lot of good young players, they just need guys to come back. That's literally it. If guys can just come back healthy next year and they can get Belichick back for another season, I think they have a legitimate shot. I really do. I don't know. Maybe I'm just biased and naive.
I'm sure they do, but what are the odds there? I mean, if you get Stafford, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
If Cam Newton's a quarterback, I will be signing a flyer that says to switch to a different NFL team because I cannot stand Cam Newton. Honestly, I could. It's 4:00 Eastern time. I could probably talk about Cam Newton and how bad he is until 3 a.m. I cannot stand Cam Newton. Oh my god, it makes me cringe. So I hope next year.
Earlier in the season, I don't remember what it was, but I said something about Cam Newton being overrated, and that was kind of early into the season before we'd seen a lot of him on the Patriots, and people got really angry about it. And I was like, I just don't see him doing a lot with this offense, and it hasn't really happened. But if you get a good quarterback, I'm sure it's a possibility with the coaching you have and with help.
Look, it's obviously a reach, and the odds are slim to none. I just think, you can't really count them out, especially if they get a quarterback. If they get a Justin Fields over the offseason, I will want to watch them so much more than I do right now. Just Cam Newton is so tough to watch. People always make fun of Carson Wentz's mechanics. Cam Newton is way worse. Watching him throw the ball, it's ugly. It is not fun. But just coming up, you've got Arizona and Minnesota out. All right.
Yep.
And you've got the Ravens in and Miami out.
Yeah.
All right.
I stand by that. Come back to this in a few weeks.
All right.
Chase was right.
Fantasy football segment. Here we go.
I'm excited.
Oh yeah, I've got some sizzling takes.
Okay.
First up, who's your start? One of your two.
Jared Goff against the Jets.
Oh yeah.
If there's a week to trust him, it's now. Throw him in the lineups, boys.
Throw him in the lineups.
Yeah.
Love it. Yeah, dude. Really, anybody against the Jets. I mean, it's one of those things. I'd say there are two teams in the NFL you automatically start players against: Jets and the Falcons. Mm-hmm. I don't care how good the Atlanta run defense is this year. I still don't trust it. I always try to Atlanta. It's just
they're always just such high scoring games,
Exactly. And usually for receivers, if Atlanta's scoring a ton of points, all right, got a little background change. I love it.
I was feeling saucy.
I love it.
Go on.
But I just think Atlanta's gonna put up a ton of points, and if you're down in that game and you have receivers, you're gonna start. go start him because they're probably going to put up a bunch of points. But my start of the week is a guy that I, coming into the season, was super low on. Did not like him at all. But over the last few weeks, he's really turned it on. Lamar Jackson going up against Jacksonville. In his last 2 games, he's put up 28 and 39. The guy's been great. And honestly, so 2 weeks ago, to get a first round bye, I needed Lamar Jackson to get me 25 points. Coming to Monday night, I was down 25 or 24. I needed 25. And I'm thinking to myself, like on Wednesday or Thursday, whenever I was setting my lineup, I'm like, the Ravens against Dallas, first of all, great matchup, are pissed off because they've lost 2 straight games. No Lamar Jackson, he's coming back. They're fighting for a playoff spot. That sort of momentum has got to light a fire under their ass. So I'm like, Lamar Jackson, I got to start him. I think it's the same thing this week with Jacksonville. People are doubting the Ravens this year, doubting them as of recently, obviously. Against Jacksonville, they got to win out. I think Lamar Jackson's going to show up again. I've got Lamar as my starter.
Does it come into your mind at all that maybe they do too good early against the Jags and then just pound the rock?
Yeah, JK? I can definitely see that. But honestly, Jacksonville's been playing good lately. They had a close game against a red-hot Minnesota team, actually forced an overtime against them. I don't think Jacksonville's just going to go out quietly and win this one. I really do think they're going to put up a fight. I still think the Ravens are going to win by 2 or 3 scores.
Yeah.
But I think for the first half, maybe 3 quarters, I could definitely see Jacksonville staying in this game. And I could definitely see James Robinson having a good game against that putrid run defense right now. I mean, Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt combined for, what was it, like 50 fantasy points last week?
Yeah, not enough. Chubb needed 0.3 more. That's all.
Ladies and gentlemen,
that's all.
Before we continue, I would like to have a moment of silence for Fantasy Outlaws. A little moment of silence. It was a successful season. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Walter Picks did me in. That's an okay way to go down. If I'm gonna go down, I'm happy it's to Walter Picks.
Yeah, it's an app.
Yeah,
it's not a bad way to go. Yeah, but yeah, I think Lamar's a great start this week. Who's your number 2?
Lynn Bowden. I wanted to go with a fun one with Devontae out.
Okay.
On that offense, he already got what, 15? Hold on.
Oh, we got a fortune cookie.
Lynn's gonna drop over 20 this week, boys.
What, you heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Lynn Bowden is dropping over, what was that, 20 fantasy points?
Yeah, easy, in his sleep.
Wow, that is a hot take right there.
Might hit 27.
Wow.
If I'm giving an exact number, it's probably gonna be like 27.3.
Wow. I love the take. So is
over 20 though.
That fortune cookie said that though?
Yeah.
It
said over 20, but I added my own twist.
Yeah, I got you. No, I think he's a good start this week. He played well last week. He had 9 targets, 7 catches, something like that. He played well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to go fun with it.
Yeah, exactly. But my second start of the week, I did a video on TikTok about the guy, Brandon Ayuk. Nobody is talking about him. Nobody is talking about this guy, and I don't know why.
Love the man.
Yep. I don't know why, though. He's so good. I don't think he has a week less than 15 points. It's week 7 or something. I mean, the guy is amazing. He has the 5th most fantasy points on average, or 3rd most fantasy points on average since week 7. He's unreal. He's got a great matchup this week. I feel like Ayuk is a must start from here on out, honestly. As a wide receiver 2, he's probably going to be your flex, but he puts up wide receiver 2 numbers. Ayuk's been great, especially with no Deebo Samuel this week. He's a must start.
Yeah. No, he's awesome. I dapped up the dude.
Did you really?
After the U of A game.
That's sick.
Yeah.
That's sick.
Last year. I made a video about it. That was funny.
So awesome.
Someone had a camera. Yeah. Dude's a homie.
Dude, that's awesome.
We're pretty much best buds.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. That's sick.
No, must start. I agree.
Yeah, give me your first of 2 must sits for the week.
Baker.
Who's
Baker playing? I know I had a reasoning for this. Baker sucks, man. But people are gonna start thinking he's good because he dropped some points in a couple weeks. Hold on, I never do this, but let me scope it. The Giants don't let they've had good defensive play against quarterbacks. you know? And Baker already is bad. So, and
Wow, Baker
like you.
had Baker had 3 out of 4 games under 7 fantasy points in a row. Oh my God.
Damn. That's probably not too hot of a take then, but Baker
No, but
blows.
that was week 6. So starting from week 6, he's had 739,
Yeah.
757, and then he's played well though.
And then
22.
and then he's done well recently. So
Yeah,
people
but look,
might
Giants is
start
a tough
thinking,
matchup. Yeah, 100% agree. He actually versus top 10 pass defenses, he doesn't have a game over 20 fantasy points this year. So that's definitely a good take. I mean, only being started. He's only rostered in 27% of leagues, but for anybody considering starting him, I mean, it's 1 out of every 4 people. So if 100 people watch this video, I mean, 25 people just got some valuable information from Fantasy Outlaws.
I got you guys. I got you
Exactly.
every time.
Exactly. What was your buyout? It's like all 5,000 blank of you are championship
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah, something like that. I used to put the number, but it was a lot of work because I
Yeah,
would
it
do it
is.
like
I do
after
the same
every.
thing. It's a lot of work, but it's fun. It's fun updating it. I will say. I love
Yeah.
updating it. But so my first of 2 sets is gonna be Robbie Anderson. So Robbie Anderson going up against Green Bay this week without DJ Moore again. I think it's now the second or third straight week that they're without DJ Moore. Anderson's going to be shadowed by Jaire Alexander the entire game. Green Bay does not give up a lot of fantasy points. And if he's the only receiver there and Curtis Samuel is just the gadget guy, I don't see him having a very good game. He doesn't have any weeks over 15 fantasy points against top 10 defenses with as low as 5 points. So I don't think he's a viable starter this week. He's calmed down as of recently. I mean, look, he's put up 19 and 17 his last 2 weeks, but Green Bay is a tough matchup. If you have the opportunity to start a guy like Ayuk over him, I would definitely sit Robbie Anderson this week.
Yeah. It's understandable. I mean, he had a surprising rise, but I don't see it keeping up
Yeah,
in
I
the
mean, where did that come
playoffs right
from though?
now.
Where did Robbie Anderson
Yeah.
come
I
from?
mean, I don't know. Well, the Jets.
Yeah, honestly. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody plays bad in the Jets, though.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a question for you before I get into my second, or you get into your second guy. Do you think Sam Darnold can be a good quarterback if he played anywhere else?
Yes. Yes.
Thank God. We're on the
I
right.
love Sam Darnold. I think without, Jace fucking him up. Can I say that on the cast?
Yeah, let's limit it though.
Okay. Without Gase messing him up all the time, I think he would be a really solid quarterback. So wherever he goes, if he gets a starting opportunity, I do think he'll succeed.
I
He's
think
had
so.
some throws that are just like beautiful, and it's like, man, this guy should be doing well on a
I
good
know. I mean,
offense.
look, he doesn't have an offensive line. He doesn't really have anybody to throw the ball to. No run game, no defense, no coach. I mean, they have nothing. They're winless. That goes without saying. I think Sam
Yeah,
Darnold can be a good quarterback somewhere else. And don't be surprised. I would love to see this. If the Jets draft Trevor Lawrence, because I think that's like the worst kept secret in the NFL right now. They're probably going to do that. I would love to
yeah,
see the Patriots swoop in and pick up Sam Darnold. I would love to see that. I would love to see what Sam Darnold can do in an offense where it's a run heavy team. A lot of the weight is taken off his shoulders, but there's still room to grow.
yeah.
The only thing is, give the guy players to throw the ball to. I don't want a washed up Julian Edelman, a busted N'Keal Harry, and Jacoby Myers to be guys that he has to throw the ball to. Bring in a
Amir,
Chris Godwin, a Kenny Galladay. Bring in,
yeah,
a Cole Beasley, who's a very solid wide receiver, 2 or 3. Bring a guy like that. I mean, this team, honestly, I'm going to go right back to it. This team can be a good football team if they just get offense and get players that can make plays and not just rely on the system.
yeah. No, I certainly think he'd be good, and I think people underestimate how much like situation has to play into like player success. Sometimes they just kind of don't even take it into consideration when I think it's sometimes one of the biggest factors.
100%. Like I put out a video, I think it was a few weeks ago by now. I put out a video saying Allen Robinson's like a top 7 receiver in the league. And I got so much flack for it. I'm like, guys, the quarterbacks he's had throwing the ball are Blake Bortles, Trubisky, and Nick Foles.
Yeah.
And he's putting up
No.
1,000-yard years every single season. Imagine what he can do with a Matt Ryan. Just imagine
Right.
what would happen. So, I hate that debate. Like, oh, well, he's not top 7. Blah, blah, blah. Like, no, if you give the guy a quarterback, like, you have to give everybody like level playing field. That's where the
Yeah.
whole like, oh, DK Metcalf is overrated comes from, because people just say, oh, well, he has Russell Wilson, but then again, it's not fair because like, okay, well, you're now hurting him because he has Russell Wilson. Like that just you can't really do.
Yeah.
It's not really fair to him, but obviously, you got to give each player level playing ground when you're comparing each other.
Yeah, definitely factors in. So do the drops. So do the bonks. The Metcalf bonks.
Yeah, we'll get into Metcalf a little bit later, but who's your second set?
Juju. Just
I
don't like
almost
him.
put down Juju. Almost put down Juju.
Just got a gut feeling. Sometimes I don't have an explanation. I'm just not feeling him.
You know what? And sometimes the gut feeling is overpowers all the stats in the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
TikTok boy ain't gonna get it done.
Yeah, it's tough. But so my second set is gonna be Miles Sanders. Look,
interesting.
Sanders has had one game. I'm a Sanders owner. He's the only player. So on one of my leagues, this is the one I trade all the time in. He's the only player that I draft. I drafted in the second round. The only player that I still have on my team. I've been through all the downs of Miles Sanders. In the only week I sit him, he puts up 34. I started him the weeks he put up 9, 6, and 3. Just want to put that out there.
Yeah.
I'm not going to let 1 week of Miles Sanders completely just change my point of view on the guy. This season, he has proven all year to be a 80-yard, 75-yard touchdown dependent running back. He's done that many times this season. Like against the Ravens, he had an 80-yard touchdown, and that was it. He ran for I think it was 1.5 yards per carry for the rest of the game. I know you're giving me something. Just give me 1 second to explain myself for the rest.
Oh, go ahead. I'm listening.
So he had 14 carries against the Saints. That's not good. That's not like crazy. Oh my God, he was the bell cow. No, like Boston Scott, Corey Clement, and Jordan Howard were actual pieces in that offense. His last 4 weeks have been 10, 6, 16, and 15. That's not great. That's not like RB1 numbers. It's not even RB2 numbers. So I don't think that he's a start this week. Facing Arizona, your team, the run defense has been the brightest spot of their offense, of their defense this year. So I just don't like Miles Sanders.
I don't love him either. But with Hurts running the offense, could it be changing in that direction? Could this not be just a starting point of which Miles Sanders leaps off?
It could be. The only thing
I wouldn't trust him, but I think he certainly could be good.
Was a garbage time rushing touchdown with 2 minutes to go, and a 80-yard touchdown.
Right.
He's had those earlier in the year, and that's what saved him. Obviously, if you take those out, he only has 5 points, which is what he did the last 5 weeks, and that's not sustainable. You can't sustain 80-yard touchdowns in an offense that's so unstable like the Eagles. I'm not going to say that because Jalen Hurts is here, I'm completely changing my view about the Eagles. No, it's still a bad offense. I mean, one quarterback's not going to change the entire thing. It's a good one against the Saints, who didn't have enough time to game plan against a mobile quarterback. That's just what I thought it was.
No, I completely agree that he's not obviously changed in my mind to an RB1 or an RB2 even. But if you need to play him in the flex, I don't think he's the worst option in the world. I don't think he's a must sit.
Yeah, if you're in a 12-person league or something, you should definitely start him. I'm talking about 8, 10-person leagues, maybe 10. Yeah. It depends. It honestly depends where you are in your league.
Or your other options.
I'm not really a fan of him. I don't know.
No, I'm not a giant fan either, but I do think there's a world where we see him trend upwards from here. There's also a world where we see him drop down to earth again and then stay there. But
exactly. All right, and ladies and gentlemen, if you're still here, thank you so much for stopping by. I know this has been extremely riveting. All right, we got some riveting conversations going on. Must be very entertaining. But the last segment we got for the day is my favorite: overrated and underrated. I've got 2 players and 3 teams. I'm going to just say it, and you're going to tell me what you think.
DK. Over. But slightly. He's really... I'm ready to have a conversation about this. I do think he's good, but if you're saying he's top 3, no. If you're saying he's top 5, no. Late top 10, I see it. Where do you have him?
I have him late top 10. You know what? Okay. I have him as the number 1 receiver in the league. He's my number 1 guy.
Perfect. Right where he should be.
Exactly.
No, I think we just have different views on where he's rated then.
Yeah,
I have him at my late top 10, but
here's the thing. It's pretty plain and simple. I've made videos about this before. When everybody says that a wide receiver or a player is overrated or underrated, it means that they're not overrated or underrated anymore because everybody says it. It's like, oh, the Steelers are overrated. Well, no, because everybody says they're overrated, which means that they can't be overrated. So, like, people have been slandering DK Metcalf so much all season. I'm not on board with it at all. He's still like second or third in the league in receiving yards. He's still a great receiver, the number one in that offense.
No, I actually agree, but I think sometimes when people keep saying he's, overrated like that, I think there's been a turn in the tide recently where people like you are saying, well, now he's underrated because of all the people saying
Oh,
he's
no. He's
overrated.
not underrated. I think he's rated
Confusing
just.
cycle there.
I think he's rated just.
Well, okay.
Yeah, I don't.
Okay.
I don't think he's overrated. I don't think he's
Then
underrated. He's not underrated. DK Metcalf is not an underrated receiver. People know his strengths.
I think there are people who say they are nowadays. Like everyone's slandering the man.
Yeah.
When there's reason for slander. The bonks.
He has a ton of drops. I think it's what doesn't he have like the most drops per target? Or that's Deontay Johnson, I'm pretty sure. But I think he might be top 5. He's not great.
He's got to be top 3.
Really, is he top 3?
Well, he's got to be, right?
I'm gonna look it up.
Like
Keep talking.
At some point.
I'm gonna look it up.
Okay. I think he's amazing and he has potential to grow into like a top 5 wide receiver, but like with the drops, if you're watching him play and factor those in, I just don't think he's definitely not in the top 5 conversation right now. And people are trying to make that.
He's tied for 5th.
Tied for 5th?
So Deontay Johnson leads the way with 9, like you and I said. Second, CeeDee Lamb. Kind of surprising. He has 7. And then there's a 2-way tie for third place between Evan Ingram and Alvin Kamara. But Kamara gets like 20 targets a game, so I guess that kind of makes sense. He has 6. And then there's like 100 people that are in a 5th place tie, including DK Metcalf with 5 drops on the season.
Right. CD makes sense. I mean, look at the quarterbacks he's had throwing to him, so probably a lot of tough plays there.
That's another thing I got a ton of flack for. I put Justin Jefferson and Chase Claypool over CeeDee Lamb, and people gave me so much flack for it. But like, I don't know. I think both of those players are just more explosive than CeeDee Lamb, is in my opinion.
It's definitely reasonable.
Yeah, I don't think it's that unreasonable. But yeah, like the drops.
I think.
What was that? You can go.
I don't think it's like too early to say Claypool could be the best wide receiver on that team next year, or even starting soon.
Honestly, like
no.
I gotta watch more Steelers games. Honestly, like I don't really watch the Steelers as much as I do the rest of the NFL. Like I watch the Steelers when they're on like red zone. Like that's kind of what I do with the Steelers.
Yeah.
Or like if they play primetime games. But I feel like is he the best receiver on the Steelers right now?
Claypool?
Yeah.
I think you could certainly make that argument. Watching Juju, like it's him or Juju, right?
A hot take.
But I maybe.
Yeah, like I don't know, like Deontay Johnson earlier in the year, obviously the drops weren't as much as an issue. The drops have always been a prevalent issue, but not as much earlier in the season. He looked awesome. I mean, Deontay Johnson was a beast. But I mean, he literally got benched because he dropped 2 balls on one drive. Like, I get it. I mean, he's obviously it's probably a mental block rather than just, an actual, physical attribute that he just doesn't have.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but
it happens. You're in the headlights sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes it's like that. Yeah. But the second guy, another name being thrown around, overrated or underrated, Lamar Jackson. Go.
Underrated.
Okay.
Because I mean, he's getting shit on the whole year. He has no one around him. I think it's tough to do what you were doing last year when a lot of that talent gets hurt or leaves, and then you're by yourself. And like everyone's like, oh, go to Lamar. So yeah, you're not going to do great when you got 12 people focusing on you.
He's not even having a bad year.
And he's starting to. That's what I'm saying, and he's still doing decent.
Yeah, like he's really not doing bad. So like 3 months ago, I said he was overrated. I made a video about it. For some reason, it went viral like a few weeks ago, and people got all pissed at me. I'm like, I made that in September or October or something. But I don't think he's like as bad as people make him out to be. I mean, you have to look at it from a standpoint where everybody says he's overrated. First of all, second of all,
Right.
he's had like two major injuries in his offensive line, Marshall Yanda and can't remember the other guy's name, but like two like big pieces on offense just injured. Marquise Brown
Hmm.
sucks. Marquise Brown sucks. Willie Snead, like, I don't know. Mark Andrews has been banged up sometimes, had COVID at one point. Like, when you don't have anybody to throw the ball to, people are like, oh, he doesn't have an arm. Well, who is he gonna throw it to? He's not gonna throw the ball
Right.
to.
Yeah.
There's only so much his legs can really do when you're a defense. You're like, okay, Lamar Jackson. He's no one to throw the ball to. What are we gonna do? Oh, we'll just put a quarterback spy on him all day. Like, it's pretty
Yeah.
self-explanatory. That's why the Patriots have been so easy to game plan against this season. But yeah, I
Hmm.
don't think he's overrated at all.
No, I would agree. I'd say underrated still,
Yeah, I would
even
agree with
after
you.
last week.
So we actually talked about them a pretty good amount so far. Pittsburgh Steelers. What are you thinking?
I think underrated still.
Really?
Yeah, I'm a Steeler hater, but I think just because they want a reason to dislike them so bad because they're good, that's what happens when your team's doing well. I think they're contenders. I do. I genuinely believe that. And just because they lose to the Reds or the football team, sorry, one week everyone's like, oh, see, I told you they were trash all along, and it's like the Redskins have some good the football team have some good pieces. So it's like I don't understand the need to like try and hate on like things that are doing good.
Yeah, I've said in past podcasts before, the Steelers are not an overrated team. It's really hard to be overrated when you're undefeated. Obviously, they lost 2 games since. They're still not overrated. I just don't understand how they're top 5 in both offense and defense, and you can make like a an argument saying they're overrated. Or they might not be
Right.
top 5 in offense anymore because they put up 2 duds, but they're still top 7 offense, and it might
Mm-hmm.
be the number 1 overall defense in the league. So I don't understand how you can say they're overrated when they have so much talent.
That's what I'm
Um,
saying. Yeah.
when you don't have a run game, like James Conner is obviously still feeling the COVID effects afterwards, like we saw Cam Newton did earlier in the year. When you're still feeling COVID, like, and you don't have a run game,
Yeah.
it's really hard to rely on a guy who drops the ball all the time, a rookie in Juju. So, and it's a
Yeah.
tough boy. So,
And Benny Smell.
exactly, like that's really hard to do. So, I don't think they're overrated at all. I think they're rated just where they should be. They're a good football team. They're going to be number 2 in the AFC. Their floor is divisionals, I'd say, with their ceiling being winning the
Right.
Super Bowl. I mean, who knows? I don't think they will. I think
No. Yeah.
I think they'll lose to the Chiefs, but I think they'll beat the Bills. I really do. Obviously,
I
the
agree.
Bills got the best of them earlier in the year, but like in the playoffs, we've seen Josh Allen in the playoffs. I'll take Big Ben,
Yeah.
38-year-old Big
Things are
Ben,
different.
who's won a Super Bowl before. I'll take him over Josh Allen all day.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Trust me, I hate the Steelers more than anybody in the
Yeah.
world. So it's coming from me. I'm
Exactly.
telling it as it is. I genuinely think they're good.
100%. So
2008, never forgive them, James Harrison. All right, go ahead.
yeah, tough.
I'm ready.
um,
Another moment of silence.
yeah,
All right,
yeah, we
go
have
ahead.
another moment of silence. So second to last team we're gonna talk about is gonna be the LA Rams. What are you thinking?
I think they're rated where they should be. I think people are starting to catch on that they're really, really good and contenders and probably one of the best in the NFC. I
Hmm.
think that's where they should be. I think they're solid. I think they
Yeah.
could contend as well. And that offense we were talking about earlier is dynamic. I love it.
Are they Super Bowl contenders?
Yes,
Really?
I would say so. Yeah,
Hmm.
I think they are.
I don't know.
Genuinely.
Not
I
there.
know it's a tough slate to get through,
Yeah.
but
I don't
you
know if I'm
know,
there yet. There's something about Jared Goff. I don't know. I feel like
right. Yeah. I mean, that's
honestly,
understandable.
like
But we
it's
saw
hard to
Blake
not think.
Bortles almost go to the Super Bowl.
That's true. That's true. And Jared Goff has
No,
already
yeah, it's understandable.
honestly, like I have no stats to back it up
Right.
because all the stats honestly go in their favor. But it's just a gut thing for me. I just can't see them doing it. Can they? Sure. Like they might be contenders because the NFC is kind of wide open after the Saints, and I think the Packers are fool's gold. Don't think the Packers are good at all. I think the Rams are the third best team with the exception of my
So
Tampa
who
Bay.
do you got?
I've got
I forgot. That's who you got
I've got
going.
the Bucks in the
Yeah.
NFC. At the end of the day, I'll take Tom Brady over anybody. And Tom Brady's the GOAT. He's dad. I'll take Tom Brady.
I don't know. Go ahead though. You
All
can
right,
become a Bucks fan all you want.
lastly, we got on the Tailgate podcast featuring Fantasy Outlaws. We got the Cleveland Browns. Overrated, underrated, rated fine.
Underrated.
Underrated. Okay.
Yeah. Well, because you want to hate the Browns and you want to say the Browns suck, but they're doing well, very well, in fact, and I think they're good. But I think it's tough to see because of bias against their recent failure. Fanalize will like that one.
Yeah, I would just think about Fanalize. You definitely would like that one. You know what? Yeah, I'm gonna say underrated. I'm gonna say underrated. I no, no, they're not underrated. I don't trust Baker Mayfield. I know the stats point in the favor of him being a good quarterback. Without Odell, I get it, but still, maybe they're underrated. I just thought about Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt in that backfield.
Yeah, I would still say they're underrated. Baker does suck though, and I don't think they're championship contenders.
No, no way at all. Like there's no shot in my absolute mind that could ever happen.
No.
I just want to pull up their defensive stats, their scoring defense, just because I want to. Sorry, hold on. So the Browns rank. Yeah, like they don't have a very good defense. They give the 6th most points per game. That's a huge liability, especially in the playoffs. Defense wins championships. The Browns don't have a very good defense. They just gave up 47 to the Ravens. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think they're going to do well in the playoffs at all, but I do think people still want to find any reason to hate on them, and I think they're better than people think still. Even though I still think they're not great.
That offense is good. That offense is really good. I could definitely see the offense carrying them. But the offense ranks 13th, tied for 13th in the NFL for points per game. So, I don't know.
If they drafted Darnold instead, maybe we're talking a different game here.
Yeah, I definitely could see that. Darnold actually has good coaching because Kevin Stefanski is a great coach, obviously. And that's another thing. Baker's had 3 coaches in 4 years. I mean, he's had a tough beginning to his career. Obviously, when you have just a revolving door at the coach position, that's tough to really get used to. But I'm gonna settle. I'm gonna say the Browns are rated right where they should be. The offense is powerful. The defense not good. I'd say their floor is the wild card, and I don't see them beating a Chiefs or a Steelers team. So I'd say their ceiling is the divisionals. I don't see them doing much better than that, in my opinion.
No. I don't see them getting out of the wild card there.
Yeah, I don't even see them being a Bills team, in my opinion.
No.
Yeah.
Me neither.
But yeah, I think that's gonna wrap it up for this podcast. Outlaws, Chase, thank you so much for stopping by.
What an honor to be here, man. I really appreciate it. I had a great time.
Yeah, this was fantastic. That's gonna wrap up another podcast of the Tailgate. Remember, just follow me on everything. All that's gonna be in the link. All of his stuff's gonna be in the links below. Go check him out. He's got some great stuff. And I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.